Hello there, sword friends. This is going to be a quick and dirty video about this here Tanto from Hanwei. Now, this is the Practical Tanto. They make a variety of different Tanto, but this is the Practical series. From what I can tell, you can find one for about 120 bucks. If I do my little screen switchy thing over here, I'm looking at Cult of Athena, and as of recording this video, it looks like they are about $120. Now, that's not necessarily a bad price, and that's what made me kind of want to at least talk about it. I'm not going to do a full review or anything like that, but I know someone that needs a Tanto, or at least this one more than I do, and it's just a decoration for me, so I'm going to part ways with it, but I thought I should share some of its features before I do, because I guess that's what I do. I ramble on the internet about swords and such. So anyway, if I do a quick glance at it, it's got a reasonably nice looking kind of classic shape to it. It's synthetic samegawa. I'm not sure if these are actual horn parts on the Fujikasha or not, but either way, they are stable. I got this some time ago secondhand, so bear that in mind as you look at kind of its condition and whatnot. The sai, I like the swirl or the bolstering, or however you use the phallic look of the sai. I actually like that it looks a little bit like a ding dong. The point is though that it rattles a little bit in here. It's made out of lacquer and it shows fingerprints really easy, but it also wipes off pretty easy. It doesn't have any of the shift dome in it. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it did come with a Sageo at one point, and I don't have that anymore. I don't think I actually got it with the Sageo in it. Maybe I did. It's been a while. Anyway, the sai rattles. It also doesn't hold super well. This, I'm guessing, is probably going to vary from Tanto to Tanto, as I've had a lot of different Hanwei blades. Some of them hold really well, some of them don't, but it's something that's at least pretty correct and could be fixed with a shim. It's not so tight or so loose or so far off that it couldn't be remedied. Anyway, the rattling is not great, but for $120, keep in mind that you shouldn't really expect perfection with this. Now, the handle, as I noted, the Fujikasha appear to be horn, but I really doubt that they are. This synthetic samegawa actually looks pretty good. If I hold this up and get the camera to focus on it and cooperate with me a little bit more here. There we go. You can see it's actually, it doesn't look terrible. It's not bad at all. I mean, ooh, over. Come on, cooperate. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so it looks pretty good, and there's no seam that shows up on it. It's reasonably well done, and I like the feeling of the samegawa, or not same, in my hand, because it's tactile, or it has some traction on it. So if I were to do any kind of thrust or anything like that, it gives me something where I'm not as worried that my hand is going to slip up on the blade. It's also really easy to clean, but it's not as hard as samegawa, so I can actually push my hands really hard into it, and I still have skin on my fingers. Samegawa is really abrasive, and this is not. It's actually a pretty comfortable feeling handle. It's got little manuki on it. I can notice where the pin is, and you know, all in all, it feels good in my hand. The habaki is on there pretty well. I don't see any kind of seam around it, at least at the base. I do kind of around the sides, and it's kind of the standard brass that you see on most production swords from Hanwei. The blade itself is a Hirazukuri shape, flat grind kind of look, and the planes on it, the flats, are actually not all bouncy. It's a pretty clean blade for Hanwei, though it's much smaller, so I'd imagine it's probably easier to do. Polish, nothing overly special. It's got a synthetic hamon, but it has, you know, a little bit of character to it. It's nice. It's not so bad. And in terms of cutting, I can't really tell you if, well, you know, I never cut with it, so I don't really know. It's sharp, and I can tell you that much. But as they say, don't tell me, show me. So if I do a little bit of cutting here, you all are probably aware just how not very good at this I am, so the fact that I'm able to is likely a good sign. Anyway, point is that it's quite sharp. I haven't used it for much, but it seems like this would be a very appealing Tanto if you were looking for a budget Tanto. Now, why would you be doing that? I think of the people that buy Japanese style swords, or the people that have come to be interested in the swords, knowing that this is a mass production piece and not like a piece of history or really that collectible. They're mass produced, likely very mass produced, given that it's kind of the more budget oriented piece. I don't know exactly who would get it, because it's not a big honkin' Tanto for doing some really robust chopping. And it's not super collectible or fancy, so if you're looking for a collectible object, I'm not sure about that. But if you're looking for something to sit in your obi while you're doing kata, so you have, you know, the Tanto or the daisho on your obi or on your belt, then there you go. You can get something basic like this. If you're looking to do some like basic cutting, I would be a little, I don't know about nervous. I do not like to cut with Tanto or anything that doesn't have something that keeps my hand from sliding up, at least not in any kind of competitive sense or regular sense. It's something you want to be kind of careful about if you're going to use, but you could certainly do that. Anyway, it's a budget Tanto. It's a pretty nice piece for 120 bucks. It makes a pretty display. Here's a little stand that I have. You imagine having that sit on your shelf. Isn't that dainty and special? Anyway, point is that it's a pretty reasonably nice Tanto for the money. Now, when I say for the money, I suppose I'm in a unique position right now to compare it to a much fancier Tanto. So here is a big custom Tanto. This was made by Rick Barrett and mounted and finished. It's got some antique fittings on it and some not, but it bears some similarities in general assembly to this one. So note the size difference. There's obviously a pretty big difference in the construction. When I go to say this is plain with its black lacquer and whatnot, here's a glossy lacquer made in a patchwork Samegawa with, it's kind of been sanded flat and has some blacks and reds in the saya. And all of these are kind of different size Samegawa, and they're all sanded to make, you know, kind of an even, smooth plane. This has actual buffalo horn. It doesn't have an actual suba, though it is a suba. It's more of a seppa. Anyway, there's horn, fuchikashira, and this is genuine Samegawa, and it's just a lot more rigid. And if I run my finger across it, it starts pulling skin off me pretty easy. There's a different type of swell and shape. And in terms of the polish, here we have like a more genuine hamon. This is a different general shape. But as I compare, this Tanto would likely cost a couple $1,000s. I'm actually selling it right now, but I mean, if you were to have one made, it you know, at least a couple grand is likely what it would cost you to have done. So you look at a synthetic hamon, 120 bucks, genuine hamon, you know, quite a bit more. Then you have kind of the polish that's a little sandy and blurry. It's almost satin. It's not it's flat as is this one, but at the same time it's not, doesn't have the same type of mirror pretty polishness, if you will. It's hard to see what I'm actually getting. Now, shape-wise of the Tanto, they're made in different styles, but this is just a comparison of the general quality, God damn it, difference that you might expect to see in a custom style Tanto or something if you were to take it up to the next level. So there are lots of levels between $120 and a couple $1,000, but just as a general comparison, here's what you can get. You know, if I look at the Menuki, here's the cast simple one. Here's a, you know, an antique piece, a fake Samegawa right next to real Samegawa. I don't know if the camera's focusing. The grinds on the blade done by mass production or a professional. I mean, there are some differences in how you appreciate and you know what you're trying to get out of it, but obviously very different. Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting point of comparison to say, you know, what do you get if you were going to spend a bunch more money? What would you get? Well, that would be something. Now, if you look at these two things, obviously there are some very big differences just in general features, but if you can look at these two just in general build quality, you don't see a really big difference, or for what you're going to use it for, the real Samegawa or antique Menuki or general construction doesn't seem much different, then why spend your money on it? I mean, I certainly see it. I much prefer this one, but nevertheless, maybe you don't see it. Maybe you don't care about it. And if so, maybe $120 is going to do you. If it is, I hope that this little quick and dirty chat has helped you. That's really all I have to say about it. And yeah, I hope it did something for you. As always, cheers, and thanks for watching.